Oh, sing hallelujah.
Stafford Baptist Church, it is my delight to announce to you that on Sunday, May 31st, we are regathering in public worship. When we first announced in late March that we would be suspending our public services, we thought it might last 2 Sundays. In that announcement, we read from James 4, verse 14, that says, "You do not know what tomorrow will bring." Well, it certainly has been true that we did not know what tomorrow would bring. When we gather again, Lord willing, on May 31st, it will have been 10 Sundays that we have not had public service. Well, praise God for sustaining us through this season, and now for answering our prayers to regather. It seems that it is now the Lord's will for us to gather again in public worship. In this video walkthrough, Paul is going to walk through some of the logistics of what it's going to look like for us to gather on May 31st. Josh will follow up by describing our simplified order of service and what it will look like for us to sing together when we gather. But I want to start by taking some time to lead you to make that decision well. You know, your pastors do not expect everyone to be there when we regather. As much as we long to be back together, we think it is best for some of us not to be there, which is odd. Under normal circumstances, we think that every member who is able to attend should attend. But these are still not normal circumstances. So we want to encourage you to make an informed decision to assess the risk of regathering based on your health, age, and other legitimate concerns. We do trust that there will be a time in the future when the risk will be eliminated and we can all gather, but that time is not now. So if you have questions whether or not you should join with us in our gathering, I would encourage you to first trust and ask a medical professional that can help you assess the risk based on your particular medical history. You can also talk to me or to one of the other elders to help you make that decision. We would love to pray with you as you make that decision. We'd also love to know who it is that is planning and isn't planning on attending. If you don't plan on attending, we will make a live stream of our entire service available to you on our website. If you particularly aren't comfortable accessing our live stream, we're going to be burning CDs after our service to deliver. So please let us know if you would benefit from one of those CDs, and we will be happy to get them to you. Well, now let's hear from Paul describing what it will look like for us to gather again in public worship.
Our hope springs eternal.
Stafford Baptist, this is an exciting time for us as we are looking forward to gathering together on Sunday, May 31st. But our gathering will look different. It has to for this season. And so because of that, we wanted to take a few moments during this video to talk about some of those logistics. How is our service going to look? What's going to happen during our gathering? Well, first, we'll be meeting at 10:30. That's different. We're used to meeting at 11. But we feel because there's no other gatherings happening during this season that it's best to move that up to 10:30. So plan appropriately. Plan to arrive a few minutes early. Now, because we're hoping to minimize the amount of time that we're in a large group indoors, we won't be opening any of our doors until 10:15. So just know, aim for 10:15, 10:20, and know that our doors will open at 10:15 with a prompt start to our service at 10:30. We'll also be meeting in our gym. In fact, we're asking that you park in the back parking lot and use one of those 2 exterior entrances to enter into the gym for our gathering. Avoid trying to enter in through the top doors there, either to the sanctuary foyer or to the office side. Come around to the back and park. We'll have signs that direct you to that back parking lot. We'll even have signs that direct you, depending on where you park, to one of our 2 entrances. But we will enter in through the gym and meet in our gym because it is where we feel we can fit the most people in the safest way. So it'll feel different, but it allows us to gather again, and that's what our goal is. Because we're meeting in the gym, we want to encourage you to dress appropriately, bring bottled water. Our gym tends to reflect the temperature, which is outside, especially with no air conditioning, and we're unsure about what audio will be like, so with fans and things like that. So just be aware that it may be warm, and to bring water, wear appropriate clothing if you know you get warm, things like that. Well, when you enter into the building, we're asking that you do your best to maintain social distancing. We'll have tape along the sidewalks in case we kind of get a backed up line. One of the reasons we anticipate that might happen is because we're asking our greeters and ushers to seat each of us. This is one of the ways in which we're attempting to be safer than even maybe we normally would. So when you come in, allow a greeter or an usher to seat you. When you come in, we encourage you to wear face masks anytime you're in our building or in the parking lot. There'll be sanitizing stations when you come in. Please get some sanitizer. There'll be a drop box for giving. If you would like to give in person, you can give in any of those drop boxes. They'll be at each entrance. You can also still give online or another way that you've been giving. When we're in the building, we're asking us to avoid hugs and handshakes. Man, this is going to be so hard, but it's right. We understand the virus to transmit most frequently and through personal contact. So let's avoid that for right now. We also want to let you know that our bathrooms will be closed. We're keeping our service to an hour in part to help with the fact that we won't be opening our bathrooms. Now, if you have an emergency, we will have one bathroom that is open and it will be being sanitized after every use. We'll have a volunteer that's standing out there allowing you to use the bathroom, and then when you come out, they'll go in and clean it. So just be aware and try to plan appropriately for that. We also want you to know that during at least the foreseeable future, we will not be offering childcare. We went back and forth, but we feel that's appropriate. And so we want to know that though we're not offering childcare, your children are welcome to join you. I think many of us will be bringing our children with us, but if you're going to bring your children, plan appropriately. Yeah, feel free to bring snacks, feel free to bring quiet toys, feel free to bring an electronic device that'll allow them to watch entertainment quietly. You know, our atmosphere will be reverent. We are gathering to worship the Lord. That is significant, but it'll also be casual, and even a little bit more casual than what we're used to. After the service is completed, we want you to know that we'll dismiss in a certain way. So just be aware of that. Be listening to instructions when we end our service. Don't just get up like we're used to and exit out. After we get outside, you're welcome to stand and fellowship in a socially distant, safe way for as long as you feel comfortable. But we're going to be asking us to exit the gym quickly, just to get us back outdoors and into the fresh air. Well, friends, one of the significant things about our gathering is our cleaning. We'll be cleaning our gym and any of the shared contact surfaces every Saturday before we gather. That'll allow us to clean it after one gathering and before the next gathering. We're also going to be doing this ourselves, so we're asking for volunteers. If you're interested in helping us clean on a Saturday for 1 to 2 hours, please let me know. I'll be kind of heading and organizing that cleaning team, so I would love your help. We'll also need volunteers to greet and to watch the bathroom. So if you're interested in doing either of those, please let us know. We'll also be reaching out to some who have come to mind in planning for this. Well, friends, that's a lot of information, and I've been talking for a long time now, but just know that if you have any other questions, maybe something that I didn't answer during this video, feel free to go to our website, staffordbaptistchurch.org/regather, and there you'll find our frequently asked questions document, other information. Feel free to give me a call or one of our elders a call or an email. We would love to talk with you, answer any questions that you might have. Friends, we know that this is going to feel different, but we're excited that we get to gather again. To talk a little bit more about what our service is going to look like, Josh is now going to take over and talk about our service and what singing will look like.
Our hope springs eternal.
Brothers and sisters, with Paul and Kelton, I rejoice at the thought of rejoining you in the worship of our good and gracious and all-wise King. As they mentioned, I'm going to take just a couple of moments to walk you through the layout of our services for the foreseeable future, and then the way that we will sing together. To start, we're going to keep our services to no longer than an hour. This is primarily to minimize the amount of time that we are spending together in an enclosed space. But it's also to accommodate the fact that we are not providing you with bathrooms or childcare during this time. Now, I want to reassure you that most of the elements that you are familiar with in our services are still going to be there, despite the shortened time. As ever, our services will be marked by the hearing and the reading of God's Word. We will still pray together. In fact, we will still pray prayers of confession and intercession and thanksgiving and praise together as a church. And yes, we will still sing. More on that in just a couple of minutes. But before I get to that, I want to discuss quickly just a couple of the elements that would normally, at least on a regular basis, be a part of our service that will not for the foreseeable future. First, a dedicated time of giving. This, of course, will be to reduce the shared surfaces with the passing of the plates. And second, we will not participate in the Lord's Supper. Now, both of these things we believe that God has prescribed for his church based on his desire that we be united under Christ and in love for one another. These are not just important elements of our gathering, they are essential in the life of the church. But the elders during this time, this unprecedented time, have prayerfully decided that out of that same desire for unity and care for one another, it is wise to forego the types of elements that do involve this passing of these physical surfaces like the plates. So that brings us to singing. Man, planning for singing presents great challenges as we think about gathering again together and seek to make wise decisions. There is still a lot that we do not know about how COVID-19 spreads, but it is widely agreed upon that the two main vectors are physical contact, hands, faces, and possibly even surfaces, and then the respiratory droplets that we release when we breathe, speak, cough, and yes, even sing. There's actually a couple of recent studies that have said that singing releases significantly more aerosolized particles into the air than when we speak, and possibly even more than when we cough. So because of this, a number of churches have decided to forego singing in their regular gatherings for the foreseeable future. Man, this is such a painful prospect for us. Singing is, and always has been, a vital and central aspect of the gathering of Christians. Personally, during this time of not meeting, I have deeply missed the sound of hearts and voices united in the joyful proclamation of our love and adoration of our King. I have missed singing with you, brothers and sisters. And so we do intend for singing to remain part of our gatherings together, but with some restrictions and intentional plans to try to minimize the risk as we do that. First, we will sing no more than 2 songs in a service. Second, we will sing those 2 songs at the end of the service. This is to try to shorten the amount of time that we are sitting in the space into which we have sung. And third, while we certainly encourage and welcome you to wear a mask for the entirety of the time that we gather together, we will be a little bit more firm in our request that during the time of singing, people mask up. So for those who may not be comfortable being in the room while we sing, or who would prefer not to wear a mask, we will pause before we sing and offer a chance for those folks to exit the room out into the open air before moving into that time of singing. We will do our best to have a sound mix loud enough that it can be heard outside and participated in. Well, brothers and sisters, in closing, we eagerly anticipate gathering with you again. We implore you to continue praying for one another and praying for your elders as they seek wisdom from the Lord in making these decisions. And maybe we've missed something. As you prayerfully evaluate your own decision to rejoin us in this gathering, if you have any questions that you feel have not been answered or concerns, we invite you to reach out to the elders. Well, as the Lord wills, we hope to see you on May 31st.